Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mattycrafts video. In this one, I'm going to be going over all of my custom figures that I made this year. It's going to be really awesome. Let's just get right into it. So starting out, we have this awesome grass mossy mech. So the idea behind this is basically the mech was just stranded in the wilderness for a long time. The person inside probably died. But overall, this was a really fun project and he looks completely awesome. Probably one of my favorite mechs that I have made. Moving on, we have a elite here, and he is a elite counselor. He is super cool. So this was a little bit earlier in my crafting, like sculpting kind of career. So he's a little bit underdone, but I always found him really cool. I really like this figure. Moving on, we have the ODST brothers. So I was actually going to make a stop motion with these three guys. They're supposed to be just kind of like a group of ODSTs and kind of reminded me of Delta Squad from Republic Commandos a little bit. You had the red, the orange, and the blue, but I never did get around to that. But they are always awesome to have ODSTs kind of everywhere. ODSTs are always, really hard to find right now. So whenever you have some cool ODSTs, it's pretty awesome. Moving on, we have the Spartan Slayer Hunter. This guy was super fun to make because I just got to be creative with him. I mean, look at all these helmets on the back. Had to sacrifice a few figures doing that, but overall, I had a blast making him. Blood everywhere. He is a Spartan Slayer, which fits the Banish theme really heavily. And yeah, he was a blast and super fun to make. Next, we have the Arbiter's Helper, and basically he was supposed to be the Arbiter's shield. So he has this giant shield, giant golden shield, and he was supposed to just protect the Arbiter as best that he could. Him and the Arbiter would go on missions, and he was a really fun, kind of different character to make. I've always had a hard time making white characters, white figures. It just never looked good, but I was very pleased with this one, and he's probably one of my favorite elites I've ever done. Speaking of favorite elites, we have the gold Halo Reach Elite Zealot here, and he is a absolute beauty. I really like this elite. He is awesome. Probably one of my favorite sculpting jobs that I've ever done. Even looking at it now, there's still some things that could be better, but this was something that was really awesome for me that I was able to do. I never thought I would be able to do something in this kind of scale, at least this game accurate, so I was very happy with it. He's a really cool one. Keeping with the Halo Reach theme, we have some Halo Reach Marines. These Marines are completely decked out with ammo pouches, custom knives, shoulder pieces, and everything was completely, done by myself. I pretty much sculpted everything, even down to the backpacks. And this was like a absolute ton of work to do, but these Marines turned out really awesome. I liked them a ton. And there's something that I look at all the time, like, dang, yeah, those are some of my favorites that I've ever made. So these are really cool. Really like these Marines a lot. Active camo, or half active camo red Spartan here. And basically the idea behind him was he was in a diorama. He stuck the flag that the blue team was trying to capture in one of the blue team's chests and held him to a pillar, got out of his active camo, and was going to fight the other blue team members. So he's a really cool Spartan. I really like this one. I don't do a lot of Spartan customs, but when I do, I normally make them a little flashy like this guy. Moving on to a Flood custom, this is the Honor Guard Flood, and this is a few Honor Guards that have been smushed together. Silver Honor Guards, kind of different and unique, a little bit Banished feel maybe. Probably one of my favorite Flood customs that I have ever done. I really like everything from just the basic details to the Flood work. I think everything that I did on this custom was cool. He can hold 3 energy swords or 3 weapons. It's really nice, and all around just very proud and happy with this figure. Now we have a Flood Halo CE Marine with the gun actually built into his arm, which I thought was a cool concept. I actually made this one on stream a long time ago when I used to do streams on YouTube, and he was a blast to make. Someone gave me this idea, so I appreciate that, like always. And yeah, he was cool to make. I definitely think my CE and my Flood work is probably some of my best work when it comes to custom figs, so very happy with this one. Now we're moving on to the Honor Guards. These Honor Guards took me around 40 hours to make all 4. And the reason why is because this was earlier in my sculpting career as well. So I really wasn't that great for a long time at sculpting and sculpting fast. These are some of my favorite Honor Guard figures that I have ever made, or favorite figures in general that I have made. They have a very Halo 2 anniversary kind of feel. Looks like I need to patch that one up right there a little bit, but yeah, I really like these guys. They are super sweet and super awesome, and I'm definitely happy I own 4 of them. If you go on eBay and try to get an Honor Guard, they're ridiculously overpriced, so it's nice to have them. Now we're moving on to the Flood Banished mech. This was something that I actually loved doing. This was when I was kind of doing the mechs and I found them. They were all on sale on like Target. I was like, I'll pick up a few, do some flood work. And yeah, I really like this one. I like all the little flood work that I did. He looks completely gross and dead and just really cool. Having one of these in Halo Infinite going up against you would have been sick, but maybe we'll get that in the DLC. Who knows? We have another arbiter here. This is a blue frost arbiter, kind of a Halo Wars feel in style to him, but I really like this one. Just blue with a little bit of black in a white style design really gives it that overall cool, sleek, but simple feel. And this was one of my favorite figures that I've made recently. And yeah, he's just really cool. I put a nice little gloss coat on him so he shines really nice, and one of my favorite arbiters for sure. Speaking of arbiters and the Master Chief, these are some of my favorite figures because they are in my recent stop motion. So basically these are the heroes that I kind of made for my stop motion, but this arbiter is a classic arbiter gold, very nice with some lights, very heavily battle damaged, and all these little areas here that I've kind of worn off is from me just moving the figure when I was making my stop motion. So it kind of happens when you're touching them a ton with these customs, but very awesome. He has like an energy sword on the side here, as you can see. That was kind of cool to make, but I really like this figure, and I also really like his counterpart here, Master Chief. This is a battle damage, kind of Doomslayer feel Master Chief with the nice biceps popping out and all the blood and scars and scratches everywhere. Very fun figures, really like them. Now we have some Brute Stalkers from Halo 3. Very simple designs, nothing really too crazy with them, but they were definitely something that I wanted to make. I really like the Brute Stalkers in Halo 3, and they're pretty simple to make if you just have this headpiece. Is kind of like the hardest piece to find. This was a Mega Bloks headpiece, but it just fit right on, so it worked out well. And I really like these guys. Simple, but nice. Moving on to something that's not really Halo, this is a armored Cantus from Gears of War. This is the only Gears of War figure I've ever made, but one of my favorite figures of all time. The detail is really great in it. I like all the little parts. I really like his little mouth here, and I just like the overall armor. He has all these little spikes kind of going down, just keep him armored just like in the game. Custom armor pieces on the forearms there. Really like this fig, super cool, super fun, and I definitely need to make some more Gears of War stuff in the future. Now we have some Halo 3 Marines. These are very simple. These were kind of earlier as well, but just a simple coat on the very top of them. Made them a nice darker green, gave them some more black detailing, a little bit of blood on some of them, and different visors. And that's pretty much it. Simple, but I really like them. Definitely could do better now, but I like these still. So here are some blue figures. They were supposed to be in my red versus blue diorama that I made. So these are pretty cool, but just some basic blue Spartans that you get out of like the Halo 3 flag capture pack. And then I added in a blue elite there. Pretty cool, basic job. It was just like a nice silver dry brush coat with a little bit of black wash. So it wasn't anything too crazy, but really like them. They look very nice. Back to the Flood here a little bit. We have a Flood-infected Halo Infinite Marine. Those heads have been twisted, tons of fungal spores everywhere, and I really like to do the Flood in a gross, disgusting infection kind of way. I really like these little claws that they have. I made these little tendrils on the front, and I had a blast making this fig. I do so much Flood work compared to like everything else. I think Flood is like my best thing, so I have a ton of Flood figures that we're going to get into here. So these are a few dead Flood Marines that are getting transformed right in front of me. Basically, the infection forms are just burrowing inside of their body. So it's pretty disgusting and gross, but also at the same time, they look so good for dioramas if you're doing a Halo CE one. I really like the diorama that I had these guys in, and they're probably some of my favorite figures, you know, like making them kind of have that before they turn into Flood look. It's really cool. So they were a blast to make. Then we have the Flood Chain Prisoner. So the idea behind this guy was he was a gold zealot, and basically someone stuck a chain to him, and they would like kind of use the Walking Dead method where he just kind of walks in front and then all the other Flood doesn't look at him. Wouldn't work in Halo, I know, but it's a fun little idea, and I really like all the little tendrils. Like I said, Flood work is my favorite work, so he's probably one of my favorite figs. Now we have a Banished Flood Rocket. And this guy is just a terrible thing. If you played Halo CE and you go against a Rocket Flood, you know that the Rocket Flood are not fun at all to go up against. So even in Halo Infinite, I could only imagine how terrifying this would be. Really awesome fig. Really liked it. Now we have some Flood ODSTs. So one of them is just plain white, which is how I got them off eBay. They were just a cheap eBay knockoff Mega Construct figures, but like they still kind of function. They're a little loose in some areas, but they're nice. This one was pretty simple. Definitely could do better now, but I like them. And then this one was a cooler red Flood infected ODST. But yeah, so all the little tendrils like all of this before, and then you got the little spores and everything. Very fun, very cool. I really like this one. I had a blue one, but I sent him off to someone. But yeah, I like this blue visor that I did on him as well. Kind of being a little creative with your stuff is just always a good time. Love my Flood work. So here are some more Flood blue elites. Pretty much just need them for dioramas and stuff, but they're pretty simple. Some of them are really detailed, some of them aren't so detailed, but I like these guys a ton. Blue elites, blue Flood elites especially, just kind of fits the Halo vibe. So these were a blast to make. Very simple, but also very cool. So this one's pretty gross. This is a baby Proto-gravemind idea. And basically I used a mega block like figure on the bottom, and then I covered the whole thing in tinfoil on the inside. And then I put like figureheads and chains and legs and arms and just a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of random stuff into it just to make it feel even crazier. And this was part of like the Flood Cult series. So it was cool to be able to do this, but yeah, he's a really cool fig. Now I have a Flood infected Carter. I plan on making an entire Flood infected noble team. I never got around to it, but plan on doing that. He has a really crazy claw on the right side of his hand with blood. Probably maybe stabbed a bunch of Marines or something. But yeah, he's a cool one. Did a great paint job on him, I thought. And he's definitely one of my favorite figures. Almost done with the Flood here. I promise. I know I have a lot of it, but here are a few Flood grunts. Really nothing special, just Flood infected, pretty crazy. And those are pretty fun. Now we have some more Flood Marines and some civilians. Pretty simple. Some are Halo 3 like these two, and the other ones are just Halo Infinite bodies and builds. But those were always nice. Pack on to the army. These were a couple special Floods that I have. Basically, this is a like baby juggernaut or like mini juggernaut. He's just a little interesting and different. Wanted to give him a little bit of a weird look, and he was fun to make. Then this one is supposed to be those things in Halo 3 that climb up on the walls and shoot at you, but like I kind of did a mediocre job at this. He doesn't look amazing or great, but he's cool. I like him, and I definitely do better now if I made another one though. And then a few more. We have a Flood infection form that basically, you know, walks in and then blows up all that stuff, shoots out a couple of the infection forms. He's really cool. And then we have another banished brute here, and with all of that new kind of Flood styling that I do. Really fun. I really like doing this like pussy stuff and tendrils and crazy just designs that I've made on them. And the final Flood fig is this giant Flood Halo 2 Juggernaut. Kind of a hybrid because he's not fully Halo 2 accurate, but very cool. He has a couple other pieces of like Marines, and like there's a grunt breathing tube of like biomass that they used, but he's cool. He's got these really long arms that if you don't shorten, sometimes they won't pose right, but they're really long and they can stretch and do all kinds of weird stuff. But cool fig, definitely good for like just having a boss on like the field or something. Then we're going to move into some brutes. So these are some Halo 3 brutes, some brute miners, and they're just blue, really nice and blue, but I gave them all a ton of fur. Doing all the fur work, I think, makes the brutes look a ton better and makes them look a lot more game accurate. So had to do that. Really like the shiny blue after I put that nice gloss coat on it. Here we have some more Halo Infinite brutes. So this one is just a purple one, but I gave them a lot of different armor pieces, paddings, leather strips, things like that, just to make them look different and a little bit mixed up. Gave them some hair. And I have hair on all of these guys. I definitely like having hair on my brutes as much as possible, considering they are kind of some monkeys. And yeah, this red one is really cool. Really liked him. He was in my stop motion, so definitely a good one. And then we have this just normal Halo 3 green. Green's not really in the game, but I just want to make a green brute, so there he is. He's nothing too special compared to the other Halo 3 ones, but he's green. On the brutes, we still have the king of brutes, Tartarus himself. I guess you could say Atriox now, but Tartarus. Tartarus figure really cool. Just did a little bit of custom work on him. Gave him a skull on the side, as you can see there, and did all of his patching and all that kind of stuff. And I gave him a Fist of Ruckhammer, which a little outdated now. I could do better, but I don't know. It's still kind of nice. I like this hammer a lot. Moving on to a few grunts now. We have a blown up grunt that basically is just blowing up and his methane is coming out. Very nice grunt. I've showed him off before, but he's cool. We have Yap Yap, and this was kind of like, I didn't want to actually grab the actual Yap Yap figure, so I just gave him a crown and said kind of whatever, but yeah, he's a cool fig. Really like him, really simple. A couple Halo Infinite grunts. This one was in my stop motion, and I believe this one was as well. Maybe he wasn't, but they have really interesting designs. They're kind of different and unique, and I like them, you know, like they're simple, but they look good. Then we have just a green, weird Halo 4, Halo 5 grunt. Don't really like the grunt Halo 4 and 5 design too much, but had to make a custom with it. So here are a few Jackals. This one is like a colorful Jackal that has like war paint on him and simple Banish theme. Pretty cool. Just some silver everywhere, a little bit of war paint on his face. He's a nice Jackal. Is a Jackal major, I guess, or like a Jackal sniper. He's pretty awesome. I guess with Jackal Sniper, we need a different headpiece, but yeah, I like him. He has definitely an interesting color design when it comes to his feet with the silver, but I like his armor that I did. He's cool. Now we have a custom flame Marine. This Marine is one that I did on stream a long time ago. I gave him a custom design, kind of like a skull in the face. You can't see it too well, but he was a fun one to make. I really like the Flame Marines. I kind of wish they were in the normal Halo games just because it's cool. But yeah, one of my favorite figs, really awesome. Now we have a Halo Infinite Marine Sniper. Pretty simple. He's got bullets on the side here, a little backpack to hold more stuff, side pouch, balaclava over his face, custom chest piece with a couple extra pouches down there, and different designs all around. Pretty cool Marine. Combo of two Marines, just some Arctic blue customs, very simple. Nothing too crazy, but just a little bit of work on him. Then we have a custom Halo 3 Sergeant Johnson with a cigar in his mouth, smoking that sucker. Very nice. Really, really like the Sergeant Johnson here. And to end it off, we have two of my favorite grunts. This one was in my stop motion. He played a pretty active role. I thought he was pretty cool. So he was just basically a grunt mule that worked with Master Chief. He's got the yellow armor, one of my favorite kind of colors with this kind of grunt, and I really liked making this guy. And then we have a Halo Reach style grunt major, grunt enforcer, something like that. But I gave him that special kind of backpack. Definitely not super crazy on the backpack. It looks really good, but it should have been up just a smidge, but it has all those little pouch, little things right there that's under it. And overall, I was super happy with this grunt. Very happy with them. Need to make some more grunt customs. All right, so that's all of my custom figures. I have a ton of them, to say the least, and that's pretty much all I did this year was make a ton of customs. I have a bunch of new stuff planned for the channel, so definitely be looking out for that. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely helps the channel grow, helps me out a lot, and share with a friend. Anyway, I'll see you guys all later. Peace.